Hi, my name is Ololade. Welcome to the Healthy Lifestyle Club. This is a space where women learn simple, natural ways to support their hormones, reduce stress, and nurture their bodies from inside out. Today, we're starting with one of the foundations of women's wellness detoxification. What does this mean? Detoxification is the process of removing toxic substances from the body. So toxins are poisonous substances that are capable of causing diseases in the body. And toxins come from within the body and from external environment as well. So essentially, toxicity occurs when the body is exposed to too many toxins that than it can deactivate or eliminate. So let's take a moment to think about the kinds of products that we use on our body or within the household, what kinds of foods we eat and drink, and how we're exposed to toxins. So, for example, we drink tap water. This can contain substances like chlorine, fluoride, and the likes. And then we can also expose ourselves to other toxins like harsh cleaning products, um, consuming alcohol, the smoke from cigarettes, environmental pollutants like, car fumes, carbon monoxide, from cars, etc. The kinds of cosmetic products we use on our face and our body, on our scalp, you know, things like that. So let's have a look at cosmetics and personal care products. So, for example, SLS. This is the sodium lauryl sulfate. So this is a surfactant. This means that it acts on a surface to trap oil and dirt. So this can be washed away with water. So what it does is that it helps oil and water to mix. But at the same time, this is a skin irritant. So it decreases what this SLS does is when it's exposed to the skin is that it decreases the protective barrier that is meant to prevent, you know, toxins from entering the body. And then once you start to decrease that barrier, then other chemicals that we are exposed to would be easily absorbed into the body. So let's look at things like parabens. These ones are endocrine disruptors. Okay, um, parabens. This is a compound that can displace or disrupt the normal function of hormones in the body. Let's look at aluminium. This is rather toxic to the cells of the brain. It also causes damage to the nerve system. Let's look at synthetic perfumes. These ones they contain a whole lot of chemicals. Some of them are known to be endocrine disruptors, and they can also be detrimental to health. And it's also good to know that about 70% of what we put on our skin is absorbed into the body. Again, we want to look at antiperspirants. Um, these ones they smell really lovely, don't they? But look at it from this angle. So sweating allows us to eliminate toxins from the body. But antiperspirants they prevent you from sweating. So when we use antiperspirants, we have blocked a pathway for elimination of toxins. And antiperspirants also contain toxic chemicals. They contain aluminum and they contain parabens. Let's look at how we store our food. Um, how do we store our food, especially hot meals, hot food? Are we still storing them in plastic containers? Are we still drinking water from plastic water bottles? So let's remember that plastics contain a lot of chemicals, and storing up food, drinking from plastic, we're exposing ourselves to all of these chemicals. So the best choice would be stainless steel or glass. So now what happens when the body is exposed to too many toxins? The body then starts to get signs and symptoms of toxicity. And there's a huge amount of, a great number of signs and symptoms that someone can experience. So, for example, there are problems like skin problems, you have like things like dark circles under the eyes, you get skin rashes and flares and pimples. There are issues of digestive issues, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. You have things like diarrhea, constipation. There's a whole array of gut issues that might be going on. There's poor immunity as well. Um, you know, Fatigue, constantly tired, mental fogginess, you know, headaches, low mood, anxiety, a whole lot. So, our job is to start reading ingredient lists on labels and just paying more attention and intentionally start to minimize all the things that we are exposed to. So, when we look at detoxification, reducing that toxic load, you know, must be the first step. So we need to start thinking about what we're exposed to in the way of toxins and how we can reduce them. So let's look at the liver. The liver is the main detoxifying organ in the body. And there are other cells in the body that also play a detoxifying role. So there are many ways that we can support the liver to help the liver detox these toxins. And we need to support the digestive system as well. We need to support the skin and the lymphatic system as well. We need to support the lungs, and we also need to support the kidneys, because all of these organs play a big role, an important role in the removal of these toxins from our body. So if we're going to look at constipation as an example, how do we effectively eliminate toxins from the body if we are constipated? So it will be really difficult to carry away the detoxified products from the liver so they can be eliminated via the bowels if we are constipated, if we're not drinking enough water. And when we talk about water, I'm talking about real good quality water, filtered water, or distilled water. These are our best bets. The lymphatic system. These ones, they play an extremely important role in filtering and removing toxins from the bloodstream. So we have to we've got to really support the lymphatic system. Um, a very fantastic and energizing way of doing that is doing this technique called dry skin brushing. So, dry skin brushing is a technique that involves using a bristled brush on dry skin to exfoliate, stimulate circulation, and promote lymphatic drainage. So, what you will need to do is get a dry skin brush, Um, get a dry skin brush, and then you you start from the feet and you brush gently towards the heart. So this is a process that takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And it'll be good to maybe do this before you get in shower. Um, but the benefit is that it's a really good way um, to get the lymphatics, moving. And this process is it's this technique is really good because it helps to improve and support immunity, and then it helps to, as I said before, stimulate circulation. Um, it's just really good. It also relieves stress and it removes dead skin cells from the body, from the skin. And as you can see, by removing dead skin cells, it's already supporting the skin at the same time. So it's a fantastic way of supporting the lymphatic drainage. Another method would be salt bath. So this is an incredible way of supporting the skin with detoxing. So the salts that are great for this are the Epsom salt, the sea salt, or the Himalayan salt. These are great kinds of salt that we can use. So the skin naturally has a pH level of 5.5, and salts are more alkaline, they are more higher, their pH balance is more higher, and the salts ones are about 8.5. So what happens is that when we have a salt bath, it encourages the movement of acidic toxins. It encourages them to come out through the skin into the water. So when people have salt baths, they realize that they are more relaxed, they have more energy, um, their skin feels so much better. If they had like things like joint pains and wrist pains and all these pains around the joints, they feel a whole lot better. So how do we use the salt bath? We get 1 kilogram of salt per bath. And we want to make sure that we're adding nothing else. We're not adding any soap. We're not adding any bath bombs or any form of perfume or anything at all. Just the water and salt. Um, so adding other items or products, things like soap, inside the water that already has the salt um, will cause interference. So they will interfere with the pH and the acidity and the alkalinity of the salt and the water and the skin and everything. So we don't want that. So you would stay in the bath for at least 30 minutes to an hour. And then what we want to do afterwards is we want to rest, have enough rest. And then we want to ensure that we are well hydrated um, afterwards. So we want to be drinking very good filtered water or distilled water.